Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this is the for loop. I mean, we've seen the while and the do while, and basically, I mean, the while is the basic one. With the while, you can do whatever you want. It's like the standard one. But we've seen the do while, which is another type of loops, which is called this the name has I just forgot it. Anyway, the difference from the for the while and the do while, the difference between them is then one is just asking the question, the condition, then if it's true we get in and execute the loop statement, while the other one we execute first the loop statement at least the first time, and then we ask should we execute again. So this was the difference between a while and do while. And then yeah, and this is called the while is called the pre-test loop because I test before and the do while is called the post-test loop because I test after executing the loop statements. Well, the for loop is the same like the while loop. It's a pre-test. I mean, I ask first and then I execute later. And this is what I'm going to be, I mean, showing another way to do that. I mean, the for loop is like another more organized way to use a while in the case when I know exactly how many times I need to repeat. And this is if you have the choice on which loop to use. If should I need to use a for loop or while loop? Well, you have to ask yourself first, do I know exactly how many times I'm repeating? If you know exactly how many times you're repeating, then the for loop is more appropriate. If you don't know, maybe sometimes you're going to repeat 10 times, sometimes 0 times. It depends on what the user inputs, for example. Well, this is a while loop or a do while. So the for loop is when you know exactly how many times you're going to repeat. So we're going to look into the syntax of the loop statement, the for statement, and then we're going to be talking about nested loops, which is a loop inside of a loop. And finally, we finish with this some commands that are interesting to learn. So let's go to this for loop. So we said when we know exactly the number of iterations. Iteration. What does iteration mean?
Repeat.
Exactly, number of repetitions. So the number of iterations is the number of repetitions. So if you have a question and it tells you how many iterations this loop does, well, you have to count how many times it repeats. And these iterations are based on some variable. This is what we call them control variable. And we've seen, I mean, I don't know if you have seen this, I don't remember now with your section. I think we've seen some of it. But the general form of a for is something that comes with this format. Or this one, depending on what's the difference between these two, remember? The difference is there? No?
Yep.
When there are no braces, I only have to put only one statement. That means only one statement is inside of the loop. When I have more than one statement, that's why we need to put the braces on. So then it becomes a block of statements that need to be executed, that needs to be repeated. So the same thing with the for, the while, the do while, all they have the same format. If you, the if, else, if you don't put the braces, that means you only have one statement to execute inside that when this condition is met. Yes?
Just you mean by the condition of the Boolean expression?
Yeah, the Boolean expression, exactly. Yeah, this is the condition. The Boolean expression is like something, the question that we ask, if it's true we get in, if it's false we get out. And the initialization part is the part when we initialize the variable. We put a value inside of the variable, the first value inside of that variable. And the update is how we change. So for example, if we'd like to count from 1 to 10, we start from 1, so this is the initialization. The condition should be less or equal to 10, and then the update, every time update by 1. So the number is added, we add 1 to the number. So we start by 1, it becomes 2, becomes 3, and so on. So that's the idea. I mean, let's look at an example. I mean, maybe before the example, the general form, the first thing that we do, we initialize the control variable. This is outside of the loop. We don't repeat this initialization. We do it only once. And then we ask the question, which is the Boolean expression. This is our condition. If this is true, we execute the statements that are inside of the loop. When we finished all the statements that are inside of the loop, we execute the update the control variable. the update, the last part, which is generally +1, -2, +5, whatever. And then when we update it, we go back and ask the question again. And if it's true, we keep doing the same thing and repeat until this question is false. When it's false, we get out. Okay? So let's look at an example so we can understand that better. If we'd like to calculate the sum from 1 to 10 of a number I, anyway, from sum of the first 10 numbers, from 1 to 10. So this is the code that does that. Let's just try to understand it. Actually, you realize that there are no braces. That means only one statement is inside this for, which is this one. So even if I put some space in here, it doesn't mean that this is inside. So the indentation doesn't tell you what is inside what. But if you remember the rules, then you're going to be understanding that this is the for that starts here and stops here. And at the end of the for, when I finish repeating, depending on how the condition is, I'm going to display this at the end. So now the first thing that I do, I put 0 into sum, and then the second thing that I'm doing is put 1 into I. Right? This is the first thing that I do. This is the initialization part. After this, help me there. What's the next thing that I should do? I plus sum. This one, sum equals sum plus 1 plus I. Exactly, exactly. You need to always ask the condition first. Do we need to get in? And we can get in only if the condition is true. So I'm asking, is I less or equal than 10? I know that I is 1. So is 1 less than 10? Yes. So this is true. I'm getting in. So I should execute this thing over here, which does 0 plus 1. It gives me 1. Then the next step?
Take 2.
Yes, but I need to go, when I'm finishing here, when I finish with the for, I need to go and perform the update. Exactly. So I'm going to do the update. Well, it depends. It's not always increase. In this case, it's increasing, but it depends on the loop. It might be I minus minus, or I plus equal I plus 2, or I equal I divided by 5 multiplied by 7, whatever. It's any operation that makes I change. So an I is our control variable. This is what we call them. So yes, in this case, we're going to increase by 1, which makes I becomes 2. And then, after that, we go back and ask the question again. Is I less or equal to 10? In this case, yes. And then we get in, and this is the loop. I get to execute whatever is inside, perform the update, ask the question again. But the first time you have noticed, I just execute this once, and then I forget it. I don't do it again. Then the second thing that I do after initialization, I'm just going to ask the question the first time, and then this is my loop. Once I'm here, if I get inside, I'm going to be repeating until this is false. When it's false, I'm getting out and I'm executing this statement over there. So let's follow up again. So it was 2. So 2, is it less than 10? Yes, we get inside, and then we perform the sum. I become 3, and so on. Let me just skip a little bit. So you can see that this is how it's going to work. I'm going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. When it's 9, it's true. It's perform the sum and displays it, and it doesn't display it. It just calculates it and save it into the variable. I'm not displaying here. This is not the output, because the output is only when there's this system.out print line. This is just I'm looking what's inside of the variables. So now the next thing is that I'm incrementing this I, so it becomes 10. When it becomes 10, what should happen? I'm asking the question again. Is this true? Yes. So I'm doing the same thing, perform the sum, and then, very important, it becomes 11. Because it has to stop sometime. So this is the time when it's going to stop. Because now 11, when I'm going to ask a question, is it less than 10? No. So when I'm asking that, then I'm going to get false. So when I get this false, I get out. And when I get out, I need to display sum equal 55. So this is what I should see. Sum equal 55. This is what I should see on the screen. Okay? So that's how it works. If you just remember that, everything is easy. And if I'd like to calculate this something like this, not to 10 but to n, what I need to do the same code than before, but replace n with 10. What should we do if we'd like to calculate from 1 multiplied by 2 by up to n instead of plus? What should happen? No, I don't need anything from the user. I have all the numbers. I can just get like here. Did I need something from the user? I don't need. I have the numbers. I can just start from 1 until n. Like I did here, I can do it the same thing here. Except instead of plus, it should be multiplication. However, if it's multiplication, I cannot use 0 because 0 multiplied by any number is going to be 0.
Yeah, so just use sum equal to 1.
So it should be exactly equal to 1, but I'm not going to name it sum, so I'm going to m, for example, for the multiplication, whatever. And then I'm doing exactly the same thing, except I'm start from 1 instead of 0, and I'm doing the multiplication instead of the addition. So this is the idea behind the for loop. When I know exactly how many times I'm going to repeat, this is the best loop for it. And if we'd like to do something like more fancy like this, for example, -1 plus 2 minus 3 plus 4 minus 5 plus 6 minus 7 plus etc. Well, there's something very easy to, if you notice, -1 power 1 is equal to almost there, -1. -1 power to the power of 2, 1. -1 to the power of 3, -1. -1 to the power of 4. So you got the point. -1 to the point of power of 1 is give me -1, which is this what I want. If it's -1 power of 2, it's plus, so I get the plus. Then for 3, it's a minus, I get the minus. For the 4, it's a plus. For the 5, it's a minus, and so on. So I can do something like this, and there's like an easy way to do it with the mathematical function. This is math.pow, which is power. Actually, with math dot something, I can do a lot of stuff. Okay, let me just maybe start with start in it, so if I need it, I can find it. So actually what it does, this is, look at here, the first number power the second number. So it's like -1 power I. When I is equal to 1, so it gives me 1, -1. When I is equal to 2, it gives me 1. So when I is equal to -1, it's very hard to write with the mouse. Sorry, I said I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2. Well, if I is equal to 3, I'm going to have the same thing. I is equal to 4, I 5, and so on, and so on. So this is going to give me either 1 or -1, and then I multiply this 1 or -1 by the number here, so I can have -1 plus 2, -3 plus 4, and so on. Well, anyway, this is just another way to do some loops. Okay, something interesting that I would like you to realize is, I mean, a couple of things, but here, look at this example. You can understand what it does, right? Can you just give me in one sentence what's this code is doing?
So just calculate the average for 10 students.
Okay, very good. It calculates and displays the average for 10 students. Do you all agree? How do I know there are 10? Because I start from 1 and 10 is included, so from 1 to 10, that's 10. And I'm getting 10 numbers from the keyboard, and I'm adding them to the sum. And then when I add them, at the end, when I finished adding all of them in the variable sum, I just take the sum and I divide it by count -1. Why this count -1? Why -1? Why not just count?
Because it will be 11.
Exactly. Don't forget, at the end of the loop, the number is going to be above my limit. So my limit here was 10, so it's going to be above that limit.
So that's mean from 10 to 1?
Yeah, from 1 to 10. I don't know what you... in this case, I'm going up, because I'm starting from 1, and I always increase by 1. So from 1 to 10. And when it goes at the maximum, when it's 10, it's going to get in, but then it will become 11. When it's 11, it will get out. And that's why when I'm reaching this stage over here, it will get out, because this is going to become 11, and then 11 minus 1, this is what I want to calculate the average of 10 numbers. I don't want to divide by 11, I should divide by 10. So that's it. But however, this code has a problem. It will not work. Yeah, for just a minor thing. The minor thing is this count over here is used outside of the loop. While, where did I declare it?
Outside of it.
I declare it here, which is actually inside of the loop. So the count is not known outside of the loop, even if everything looks good. But if I need to use this count from outside of the loop, I need not to declare it here. I need to declare it outside. So like here, for example. Now it's the same code, same logic, except that I declared this count outside of the for loop, so I can use it also in this context. That's the only thing that you need to take care of. If you need to use the value from a control variable that you used for counting the for loop, well, if you declared it inside the for loop, you'll not be able to do that. If you would like to be able to do that, you need to declare it outside of the for loop. That's the lesson that we need to learn from this. Okay? And the other lesson, just always pay attention to your numbers when you get out from the loop. It's always 1 plus your limit, or 1 minus your limit, depending on how you updated the situation. It's always above or below your limit. Okay. Another thing is, look at this code. So we've seen the basics of the for. Now we're going to see some optional stuff. Some things that maybe you might see, or maybe you're never going to use them, but you need to learn or to understand them. So if you come across, you should be able to understand them. So look at this thing over here. You look at, first of all, if you'd like to decipher this, you have to look for what we know. We know that in the for loop we have 3 parts that are separated with a semicolon. So we have these 2 semicolons that delimits the different parts. The first part is called initialization. The second part, the condition or the Boolean expression. The third part is the update or the increment. Or update is more general, because increment means always go up, increase by 1, or increase by something, while it can be also decrease. Okay, so just update is more general. So you can see that here I have more than one initialization, which is possible by using the comma. If you use the comma, you can use any, you can have 5 initializations. That's okay, it should be fine. So this is the way how to do that. If you have more than one initialization, you can use it with this comma. The same thing with the update. You can use more than one update, you can use it with the comma. But for the condition, we have only one condition. It can have multiple parts, but it's all one condition, because this is at the end only true or false. So I cannot have like more than one true or false. I cannot put a comma here, for example. A comma here would be a mistake, an error. It's not possible, because it will be 2 questions now. I cannot have 2 questions. I can have 1 question, but can have 2 parts. That's fine. But 2 questions, that's not possible. Yes?
So how can you it's possible just to make O++?
Yeah, but they want to make something more, not add by 1, they want to add by 2, which is possible. You remember what this means, right? E plus equal 2 is the same thing as E equal E plus 2. That's the same thing. You can either write this or that here. It's fine. It's like I++. When you use I++, this is the same thing as I equal I plus 1. Or you can also do it like I plus equal 1. The same thing. Different ways to represent the same statement. So this is what I would like you to understand from here. So some optional stuff. I can have more than one initialization statement into the for. I can have more than one into the update. More than one update into the for as well. But only one question, only one condition. And then another thing that we can do also is we can have an empty initialization. It's possible with the 4. Well, these cases are quite not the common loops that you're going to see. This is something that you might come across maybe like 5% of the time, or maybe less. But this is, you need to know that. So if you see this, don't think, oh, there's a mistake, there's nothing in here, that means it's a problem. If it is a question, comes as a question in the quiz that is coming up in week 12, you should just be able to detect that this is not a mistake, this is possible. As well, like this is not a mistake, this is possible. But if I put here a comma, well, this is a mistake. For example, instead of this and, I'm going to put in comma, well, you should say that this is a mistake. So that's the thing about these things. Now let's talk about something that might give you some headaches. Well, if you don't pay attention. So these are nested loops. Nested loop means loop inside of a loop. Well, in this case, we mean for inside of a for. We can have for inside of a while inside of a for inside of a while inside of a for. We can do whatever we want. You can have a while inside of a if inside of a while. Whatever. It's all what you need. These are just tools, and you build whatever you want, and sky is the limit, or the imagination is the limit. So this is something that we'd like to understand, because having 4 loops coming together might be a little bit of confusing sometimes if you don't follow the rules, and you're going to see maybe you might not follow the rules as we stated it before. There's some naming. The loop that is inside, we call it inner, and the one that is outside, we call it outer. So inner loop, that means the one inside, outer, the one outside. And let's have a look at this thing over here. So we have 2 loops, one for the rows, the other one for the columns. I would like to see the output of that. So what is the first thing that I'm going to see on the screen when I'm doing this? What is the first thing that I'm going to display? I'm not saying the results. I'm saying, well, the first thing that I'm going to see on the screen. To do that, you need to execute line by line, right? So the first thing is to, okay, this is how you should do in order to understand any code. So this is the variables, these are the variables, rows, let's say this is the rows and columns. I declared them. This is the first line. This is done. Then I have this one over here. In this one, what should I do?
Reroll.
Sorry?
Reroll.
No. This is not what should I do. If you're the computer, I gave you this instruction. What is the first thing that you do in this line?
See if the condition is right.
No, before seeing if the condition is right.
I put row 1.
Exactly. This is what I was waiting for. Because if you jump quickly to that, you'll not be able to get the full picture. You might think, oh, this is how it works, but then maybe you're going too quick. So just the first thing, just follow what we said. We said the first thing that we do, we put the initialization. We start with the initialization. So let's initialize a row. I'm going to put 1 instead of the row. Then I'm going to ask, is 1 less than 3 or equal to 3? Yes. I get inside. When I get inside, I find myself, there's another statement here, which is another loop. That doesn't have a brace. That means, actually, it's like having something like this. So the inside of this other loop, it has only this statement inside. The first thing that I do again, initialization. Put 1 in column. So I'll put 1 in column. I'm asking the question, is column less or equal to 3? 1 less than 3? Yes, I get inside. So what I'm going to see on the screen, now you can maybe be able to tell me 1 space 1, another space. So that's it. That's what I'm going to see. The first thing that I'm going to see. I'm not saying that this is it. That's it. I mean, there's other things that are coming, but at least this is the first thing that is coming. Now, let me see if you're going to respect the rules of the for or not. After I finish all the statements in this over here, what's the next step? Increment. Which one? Columns or rows? Row? No, that's column. Why column? Because this is the for of which for are we in? We're in the for of the columns, right? We're not going outside of that until this is false. And we haven't asked if this is false or not. In order to ask that this is false, we need to first execute the update of the column. So don't jump around from the column to the row. No, we can't. We are still in the column. We are not leaving it until its question becomes false. Then we get out. So then the column becomes 2. Oh, let's. Okay, and then we ask the question again. Is 2 less than or equal to 3? Yes, I get inside. What should I see again? Row, which is 1 space 2. Okay, let's finish this one. And then the second thing, now we know. Yes?
Why the row? Two space, one and one and two.
I don't.
Just the row. Just why showed me 2 number for the.
This one was already there.
Yeah, just why it's 1 1. So
Because we have 2 variables, this one and that one. We're displaying 2 variables. That's why you're going to see 1 1 or 1 2 in this list iteration. So let me erase some of the thing. Oops! Oh, we erased everything. So anyway, this is column is 2 and row is 1. So we displayed this. This is what we ended up in. Now we're going to increment. Column becomes 3, and then we ask the question: is 3 less or equal to 3? Yes. I'm going to go inside, display 1 space 3, and then this is becoming interesting because I'm going to
see the column.
Increment. I'm still incrementing. I need to increment first. So this becomes 4, and then it becomes false. So when I'm asking, this is false, I'm getting out. When I get out, I should come to this line over here. And this line, it just go back to the line. So next time I'm printing something, it's going to be here. Did you realize that this is print, not print line? That's why they are all on the same line. So this is print ln. That means go back to the line, and I'm going back to the line. So the next thing I'm going to print is going to show up here. So I finished now with this other 4. What I need to do, increment the row. So the rows becomes 2. And then I'm asking the question, is 2 less or equal to 3? The answer is yes. I get inside. I come across this line again. What should I do? Exactly. Don't forget, same thing, same rule applies. Put 1 into column. So now the columns, it was 4. I'm going to remove that and put 1. And I'm asking, is 1 less than or equal to 3? And you got the point. I'm going to be repeating the same thing, 2 1, 2 2, 2 3, and then it becomes 4. Then I get out, and then this becomes 3. The row becomes 3. Is 3 less or equal to 3? Yes. I get inside. Again, put it back to 1. So 3 1, 3 2, 3 3, and then this becomes 4. I get out from this loop, I go back to the line, then this becomes 4, and when the row becomes 4, this becomes false, so I get out. And this is the result that I'm ending up in. Okay? Easy? Now it becomes easy. When you follow the rules, just always start, don't get confused, or if you see something new, something inside of another thing, always use the rule. If I ask a question, this is true, I get false. If I go to back from the update before asking the question, just keep doing the same thing. We're not getting outside from a loop until this is false, so just don't get confused with that, and inshallah it should be okay. All right. What about if we do something like this? What is the output of this one? Let's take some, like 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes, try to find out what this is going to give us. Okay, so the first thing we need to follow are 2 variables, I and j. Okay, and let's draw them. This is I. This is j. So first thing, put 1 in I. Is 1 less than 4? Yes. Get inside. Put 1 in j. Is j less than I? Okay, what's inside of j? Notice that this is I, not a number. Is 1 less or equal to 1? Yes. We get inside. We display 1. Then j becomes 2. And then I'm asking the question, is 2 less or equal to 1? No. So this is false. I get out, go back to the line, and then when I finish going back to the line, I go up, I becomes 2. And then get inside. Put 1 in j, so j is 1 again. Is 1 less or equal than 2? Yes, get inside, display 1 star. J becomes 2. Is 2 less or equal to 2? Yes, display another star. J becomes 3. Is 3 less or equal to 2? No, get out, go back to the line, and then go up again. When I go up, I becomes 3. Get inside, sorry, I need to ask first. 3 is less or equal to 4? Yes, get inside, and then put 1 in j. Okay, no, again, j has 1. Is 1 less or equal than 3? Yes, get inside, display 1 star. J becomes 2. 2 less than 3? Yes, display another one. J becomes 3. Is 3 less or equal to 3? Yes. I get inside, display a third star. And then J becomes 4. Is 4 less or equal to 3? No. Get out, go back to the line. So you get the point. I'm going to, again, I becomes 4, and then J becomes 1. Is 1 less or 4? Yes. Display 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, and 4 stars. So it's going to be something like this with stars. I mean, I was not aligned, but normally it should be aligned like this. 4 stars in the base and 1 in the top.
Can you repeat again, please?
Where, which part?
How did you start again?
Okay, so if we would like to summarize quickly, we put 1 in I, and then we ask a question: is 1 less than or equal to 4? Yes. And then we got in, so now we had to put something in j, which is 1. And then my question is here asking j is lesser or equal than I. Well, what's inside of j? 1. So 1 is it less or equal to 1? Yes. So I get in, that's why I'm displaying this first star. And then j becomes 2. Is 2 less or equal to 1? No, so I get out. That's why I'm displaying only 1. But the next time I'm going to go back to the line and then increment I, but I now becomes 2. So now the question is less than 1, but now it becomes less than 2. That's why now I have to repeat j. For j equal to 1, it's going to get in. For j equal to 2, it's going to get in as well. That's why I have 2 stars here. Then again, I increment I, so I becomes 3. So now I'm asking, is this less than 3? That's why for j is go 1, 2, and 3. That's how it works. Yes.
Does the I plus plus is equal? It's mean to I maybe be 2, 3, 4.
The I plus plus means that I'm going just to increment the current value by 1, whatever the value is. Yeah, if whatever the value was, just add 1 to it. It doesn't say which value I has, but it says just whatever it has, it will be having 1 plus that value.
So I is equal to 1, 1 plus 1.
Exactly, because we stated here that I starts from 1. That's why we know that it starts from 1. Yes. But the I plus plus doesn't tell us what's the value of I. It just tells us that take whatever it's inside and add 1 to it. I mean the plus plus. Yeah. So that's the type of output is going to see, something like that. Okay, now some final tweaks about these loops, and then we're done with it. This for loop, which is this continue and break. I mean the break, we have seen it before, right? You remember? We've seen the break before. With the switch, very good. So with the switch, there's a case this, do this, and then break, which means break, get out. Well, the break means also something here, the same thing. When I use a break inside of a loop, that means get out of the loop. Well, what about continue? Well, continue does something different. It skips an iteration. Let's have a look at this code, which actually it finds the summation of positive numbers less than 12, but not multiple of 3. I would like to add 1, 2, 3 is a multiple of 3. I don't want to add it, so I skip it. And then 3, 4, 5, I would like to add these numbers. I would like to add 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5. 6 is a multiple of 3, so I don't want it. Plus 7 plus 8 plus 9. No, 9 is a multiple of 3, so 9 is not acceptable. Plus 10 plus 11. 12 multiple of 3, so I'm not using it. So I would like the summation of the numbers, these numbers. Well, there's a lot of different ways to solve them, but this is one way when you can see the use of continue. So let's have a look at this. Okay, let me leave it there. Sum is 0, add 0 to it, and then I is 1. Yeah, I have something like this. So I put 1 in I, and then I'm asking, is I less or equal to 12? Yes. I get inside. Is I moderate division by 3, is it equal to 0? No. So I'm not going inside. Just go here and do the summation. Sum is equal to 0 plus 1. That's 1. The next thing, I becomes 2. Is 2 less than 12? Yes. Is 2 moderate division 3 equal to 0? No. Actually, you should not hesitate. If a number is less than this one, the second number, it's always, the result is always this number with the moderate division. If we have like 2 moderate division 5, the result is 2. 2 moderate division of 3, the result is 2. 2 moderate division of 50 is 2. Whatever you have, as long as this number is bigger than this one, the result of the moderate division is the number itself. If the number, this one, is bigger than this one, then you need to do the calculation. Okay, too bad. So we have 1 and 2. So 2, this is false. I am going to calculate the sum. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Now for 3, let's get inside. Is 3 less than 12? Yes. 3 moderate division 3, is it equal to 0? Well, no, it's yes. You have 3 cars to give to 3 people. What is left? Nothing, 0. So actually it's 0. And when it's 0, look what happened. Actually, I'm going to execute this continue. When I'm executing continue, what would happen? Go to the update. It's like a skip everything else, whatever, how many lines you have inside of the for yet. I'm going to go back. It's like I'm telling it, okay, skip whatever it's there, go back and start another iteration. And this is what is going to happen. It's going to skip the summation, and I'm not going to change anything to the sum, so the sum is not going to be affected. And then I plus plus means now it becomes 4, and I'm asking the question, is 4 less than 12? Yes. So, and then the question is 4 mod division 3 is equal to 0? No. So I'm going to get out and then do this. So this is how it works. 5, the same thing. I'm adding 6. Is 6 divided by 3? Yeah, because 6 cars to 3 people. I give 2, 2, 2, and then I have 0 left. That means this is true. So I'm going to get inside and then continue. Same thing. I'm going to skip, and so on. So that's the idea of this continue. Yes.
In this case, if I put break, the break.
Okay, very good question, because this is what I wanted to do. Now, if we imagine that this, because the next example on the slides is not as clear as this one. Now, why don't we, if we remove this and put break inside instead? Sorry, if we put break now instead of continue, what would happen? Exactly, it's going to have the sum equal to 3, and then when I become 3, it gets inside. Is 3 less than 12? Yes. Then we have like, is 3 mod division 3 is equal to 0? Yes. Get inside break, that means get out of the loop. So I'm not going to do any of this. The loop will stop here, and then I will get out, and if I display the sum, I'm going to see this number. So that's the difference between continue and break. Continue, just go up and start again. Break, get out. Yes?
What's the condition for this question, this paragraph? But it's not multiple degree.
Just to show you this question was just to show you an example of usage of continue. So that's why they ended up doing something like this. So why 3? Just so you can have something that you can use.
Yeah, but just my question.
Yeah.
Why? How just? How can I know?
Oh, how can I know that this is a multiple of 3? By this way. I mean, this is the way how we know that this number is a multiple of 3. Let's have a look. If we have 1 and I divide 1 by 3, we have like any number, like I mod division 3. So 1, if I mod division by 3, what is the result of that?
1.
It's 1. Okay, 2 mod division by 3
2.
is going to give us 2. 3 mod division by 3,
0.
it gives us 0. Okay, so this is the one we know it. Okay, 4 mod division by 3.
1.
So we still have 1 again. 5 mod division by 3.
2.
2. 6 mod division by 3.
3.
No.
Minus
6 cars to 3 people.
2.
So you give 2 people each, but this is not the number we're looking for. We're looking for what is left after we give. So 0. So we go back to 0. You notice this is 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So with 7, it's going to become 1 again. 8, it's 2, and then 9, 0. So this is how we know that this is, I mean, a multiple of a number. If the remainder of division of that number is 0, that means this is the multiple of that. That's it. I mean, this is the idea of this continue and break. I mean, this is another example with the break. I don't want you to look at this because it's a bit confusing. A last thing, and then we finish this lecture, which is the exit statement. The exit statement is something that we know how to get out of a loop. What about getting out of the program? Well, we can get out of the whole program by using this system.exit, and we can do something like this. You can see something like this. So if there's a condition, you put a condition. If that condition is met, then you finish the program. This means this is, if you'd like to do that, you can do it this way. And you have to put a number, y0. Well, you can put any number you want. This is something that is useful for you if you have many different places when your program stops, to know which places it stops from. Something used for the debugging. Yes.
Doctor, break is getting out of the loop, right?
Out of the loop.
And exit out of the program.
The program itself. What if I have 2 loops, two nested for loops? I mean 4 instead of another 4, and there's a break inside of the inner one, the inner 4. When I hit the break, should I get out from both of them or just one of them? Just the inner one, because we get out only from the inner one, and then if there's another loop where we're not going to be getting out from that loop because of that break. So that's it. Just have a look at this section 3.3, and inshallah we're going to, next thing that we're going to be talking about is the arrays.